well.
Fantastic.
This is the important information here.
It didn't get done.
Thank you.
You do any grinding for Joe Laird's?
All the time.
What's Joe doing? Is he retired yet or no?
He just sold his business a
Oh,
couple of
really?
weeks ago. Yeah,
Really?
yeah. So he's pretty excited.
He's nice man.
He is. He is. He's actually one of my partners at a duck club. We own a duck club.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You told him I said,
I will. I will.
Okay.
yeah, you should be, I paid a lot of money on this one.
Yeah. I've known him a long
Okay.
time.
Okay. I told them
Lives
that I
there.
would leave them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Who you sell it to? The one guy that was working for him?
No, that's the interesting thing. It
No,
was,
the one guy, I forget his name now, was working for him.
that's,
Brought in,
yeah, he's still gonna be the general manager at but Joe sold it to a young guy.
Call my kids.
Outside.
Okay,
You know, just wanted to try something.
I can screw your phone up worse than you got it screwed under. Want me to?
100%. He's gonna get involved and learn the business. Gotta give him credit. He's a young man, younger than 40. I think, I guess I think they're gonna make it go.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
It's gonna be
Okay. It's fine.
there.
And then,
place down there at 141
I mean, I guess.
by Sugar Creek Road. Always wearing a hat and a long sleeve shirt. He had cancer. His son,
I saw Evers, no,
They wanted to be
your Springdale Springdale, his office is right next to the, on the opposite side of the road. Same side of the road, the opposite side. Picture of him and his son. They just did some fashion stuff at that Winsfield for Target. He used to do all the Target.
So yeah, you guys have to be okay with that. I can either pull a chair up there for you so you can sit next to me, or you can sit over here, whichever you prefer.
On my way home.
Hey Doug, we got your book.
Oh, yeah, there's your butt. I'll give you everything else.
Normally because, I was catching trouble on this really, but to be in Ireland,
And to grab the chair and drag it up here.
all this guy covered
Exact same sheet I printed.
all that type thing, and it was beautiful, but like I said,
Yeah, they just leave those there.
Had to be deep. Yeah, it should have
no
known.
fight, I mean, they would just skim across the top of the water, over this, and like,
That's really cool.
beautiful river, beautiful, but just, still just the opportunity, like, my son and his son, his mom, there and waited, it was beautiful place.
Great. Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Years ago, kept riding. Do some fun stuff and spend some time in Yellowstone.
South Dakota, which I think is where you just,
It's a big number.
and it's just, I would like it, that's what I would mean, just that you have this huge vista, just
Oh,
going
I can't wait. Staying in an Airbnb
not
I
quite
don't
4
have
o'clock.
internet, so. I don't know why.
But it's being, you have the taping going on now?
Yeah, they're watching.
I've got straight up 4 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. I can do a roll call, please.
Yep, and I forgot my sheet, so I'm gonna go around the room. Michael Steininger,
Here.
Rick Masterson,
Here.
Mike Bowie,
Here.
Matt Johannesman,
Here.
Debbie Haley, Scott Kochmeyer,
Here.
Robert Schmidt,
Here.
Roy I was
all
just
done.
reading them. Oh my gosh, Doug Meyer. Cindy Fox Griffey,
Here.
Brian Punman, and Jim Fagnoni. Okay.
All right. At this time, I would open public comment. Right there's perfect.
All right, thank you. You may be wondering who this group of people is here.
You'll let us know, right?
So are we. We have a lot in common. I'm Randall Oakes. I'm the town chairperson for Augusta. And I was enjoying reading out there some of the things in the lobby. Your place is a little more upscale than our town hall. But I was looking at the wine hall picture that is right there in the lobby, and that ties us together in many ways. The reason we are here, as town chairperson, I've been trying to research what can we do about our roads, and that goes back over 30 years, going through minutes of the same kind of questions and the same kind of potholes. And a couple of hours ago, I was with my wife, and we went through Lake St. Louis, where she used to live 30 years ago. And I remember the horses across the street from there. I remember Wentzville and Warrington, et cetera, and the narrow roads, et cetera. And driving through and headed back to Augusta, I don't know how you keep up with what you do and the challenge that you have as this growth is taking place. Our challenge is just within one little town. But the reason we are here is not to ask for money. If you've got it, we'll take it. But what we're really trying to do is find out resources. Who can we contact? What can we do to make this, instead of a 30-year thing on our agenda list, to make it a reality and make some things happen? So that's why we're here. And two of our town board members are sitting right here. And Tracy, if you have words you'd like to say, and then we aren't just a town of the town itself. The town's gone through a lot since COVID. A lot of changes there and a lot of adjustments. And a gentleman that is working very closely with us to help make adjustments from the business community is sitting right here. And I don't know, Tom, if you want to say anything. I don't want to wear out my welcome, but any information you can give us, who people we should contact, organizations, et cetera, we are all ears, because we're going to make something happen out there and not just talk about it. And thank you for your time.
Sure.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name's Tom Fuchs. I'm the general manager for the 4 Hoffman wineries in Augusta. I've been in the wine business my whole adult life. I'm originally from this area, and the wine industry has taken me away, and my current home is in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I got a call from David Hoffman through a mutual acquaintance, and talking about the challenges that his wineries have had over the past few years since the acquisition. And we had a real friend-to-friend candid conversation about the challenges of what's going on. And then he calls me back 2 days later. He goes, "Hey, wait a minute. You're from here. Get up here." And I took over as general manager for the 4 wineries in March, about 15 months ago. And our business through our distributor network and just in the state of Missouri is up over 50% during the 2024. And so far this year it's up another 50% in spite of the wine industry being soft. But the wine industry here in Augusta, St. Charles County, is multifaceted. We're 178 acres of vineyards. We have a production facility, 2 production facilities. We have 4 tasting rooms, 1 at each of the wineries. We have 3 full restaurants. We have live entertainment from April through October on every Saturday and Sunday, and bring a lot of people to town. I've been doing a lot to enhance the presence of our properties to get people out here because we're bookended at both ends of 94 with other wineries, you know, coming into play. But there's so much history to the town of Augusta and to our wineries in particular, especially Mount Pleasant Winery that goes back to 1859. It's an incredibly beautiful piece of property. But what I started mentioning to the town is when I drive through town to get to the wineries, you have to weave around all the potholes in the streets, the bumps in the road, because there's so much patchwork and needed patchwork throughout the town that getting to the winery, I said, I don't want people to come out to the winery and then be more focused on the trouble they had driving to the wineries rather than the wonderful experience they had sitting on a mountaintop, listening to music and enjoying good food and wine. So that's what brought me to having conversations with them. And in the research with the town board and myself, there's 37 historical registered properties in the whole county. 11 of them are in the town of Augusta. And I said, these 11 properties are really special. And we started talking together about putting together a street map, an illustrated street map that shows these 11 historical properties throughout the town and the town's area to give people something more to do than just visit a couple of wineries. But I want that experience to be, complete. So when they come through, they're not thinking about, good God, those roads are a mess, which they are. And when I presented this to the board, 2 days later, some kid hits a pothole on his bicycle and breaks his leg. So I approached our state senator, Nick Schroer, Richard West, our state representative, and really I said, I'm not in the road business, I'm not in the highway business, but what do we need to do to, so if we come for help, or we come with a proposal, what are we talking about doing a cost analysis of what it would be to fix the main streets through this town? We're not talking about a major city, but an important city within the county. So getting that assessment, and then what are the steps we need to take to move forward to get these roads done in terms of contractors and getting it done right, so it's not a continual patch and repair. So that's how I got involved with this, because I said, we're spending all this money promoting our properties through advertising, through social media, and all these other, we're doing through the Schnucks chain, we're about to start a program where you win a raffle and you get a weekend in Augusta. So to experience the wines and the whole town. So this is really why we're here, is someone to say, okay guys, we understand your needs. And these roads, when I say they're in disrepair, they're in really disrepair. This is the process you need to go through. And if there's any county funding, state funding, federal funding, here's where you go to get that. And really just a roadmap to get to where we need to be to get our streets as beautiful as I described the Herman Augusta as the Napa and Sonomas of Missouri. And so we want our streets paved in the gold of Herman, so So our roads are as inviting as the roads up the river a little way. So that's my presentation. So thank you guys. Any direction this committee can help us with, we appreciate it. Thanks.
Amanda, do you have cards with you?
Yeah. Yes.
Somebody else want to speak?
So yeah, GP was the one who directed me to you.
Okay. Oh, yeah, okay.
Can I ask you some questions before you get started?
Sure.
Are you guys an incorporated city?
See, we have our own town charter in
Do you
Augusta.
have your own town charter?
Yes.
You do not have your own highway department or street department? Or?
No.
Okay. So are your roads considered all county, or like 94 is a state road?
It's a state road, yes.
Is the rest of the roads, are they considered county roads?
So we are part of St. Charles County, Augusta is, but because we have our own town charter, we're not.
Now in her head, would all their roads?
Their roads are their own roads,
Mhm.
because the county doesn't keep any roads that are in an incorporated city.
Incorporated area.
So they have been incorporated by Augusta.
Okay.
I believe you guys maintain them yourself. There's not, some cities have like an agreement with the county highway. Augusta does not, that I am aware of.
Not at this time, but we
Okay.
just met with the highway, Theodore,
Ted Dunkman?
Ted, yes, we just
Okay,
met with him,
good.
and he gave us kind of a blueprint of how that might work if we want to join
Okay.
that program.
Good deal.
Yes.
Yeah, so, it's really been we have always required a 20% match, and we've really not in the past done, like, maintenance type projects. However, I have actually been talking to, Cochran Engineering.
Oh,
Mike Hackmeyer,
Yes.
I'm working with him on a sidewalk project.
Yes, yes. So he was talking to me about this as well, and I kind of said we are kind of trying to do a little bit more of where we can, improve a road. I asked if you have any room to like do something else on the roadway besides just 2 lanes of traffic. He said probably not, but that doesn't mean that it's not something we can start looking at. Typically, we require a 20% match from the city, so that was one of my main concerns was that you guys had any funding to do that. But I told him, like, I'll probably need to talk to my superior and kind of find out, how we want to try to address this, because it's something that keeps coming up. We, a couple years ago did the ARPA funds. I think you guys have a tiny amount of ARPA funds sitting somewhere that were allocated to you, that I can certainly find, but it's such a small amount for the littler cities that it was just, it wouldn't even do anything. So,
With
Is that
them
something-
talking to Flint Hill, Flint Hill's kind of come along, but they've gotten to the point where they're actually been able to do some projects.
Yes,
But
they
for a
have.
time, they were probably as small or as smaller as you all were, but they're growing and all that, and I'm sure you see growth, and you've got a lot more that have always been going on there with the wineries and all that type thing. I'm just trying to figure out if there's some parallels in that type thing that would, with it.
yeah, and I don't know, Flint Hill has been able to make the match, and they're also got federal funds this year for our project, which is great. Like you said, you only Jackson Road is the only road in town that's classified, that is functionally classified and eligible for federal funds. So
I see.
that's why
That's good to
it's
know, yeah.
so difficult to find additional funding.
The fund
yeah.
you mentioned, is that something that we get annually, or was that a
The
one-time?
amount that, it was a one-time
A
thing.
one-time thing?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I don't, again,
Is
if
that
you talk to highways, you're talking to the right person about all of that stuff. I think there's another, like, divvied up amount, but I don't know.
We did meet with him, Ted, and he mentioned that we should have been getting around $10,000 to $11,000 through this fund.
Okay.
So I didn't understand if it was annually or.
Okay, then that probably is the road,
It was like the
road and
road-
gas.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's separate from our sales tax. And yes, I always kind of wondered that. So
So we're here to be like, have we been getting that? Where is it?
Okay.
And can we use it? And so I just want to introduce myself.
Okay.
I'm Tracy DeLay. I am a
I
new.
have some more questions for you.
Oh, okay.
Are they, Can they do a NID project for the roads?
I don't know much about NID, but I would assume
We were a
so.
private road and we did a NID project.
Yeah.
and Brought it up to county standards, it's now a county road, the county took it over.
Yep, yep.
So that was a NID project, but you guys, you have to pay for that.
What does NID stand for?
Neighborhood Improvement District.
Or a transportation development district.
Right.
Right, yeah, to get from the wineries some kind of, yeah. I know that was talked about when Hoffman first came in, was can we work with you guys to create a TDD and do some stuff, but nobody ever really
We
reached
have
out.
over 1,000 visitors
Yeah.
every Saturday and another 1,000 every Sunday from April through October. So,
Yep.
and generating, I want to say, $50,000 to $75,000 a weekend
Yep.
in revenue. Sometimes more, sometimes $100,000, you know, which is all tax, you know. So that's all we want to do is get you know, the guidance from all of you to how do we make this so when people come, it's a real pleasant experience.
About the TDD or the CID or the NID, any one of those, if there was a way the city could maybe create an overlay district, and then everybody within that uses the roads to get to where they're going, maybe could participate in the sales tax generation of, a TDD is usually like 1% generated for all those revenues that you're talking about, 1% generated, and then all of that accumulates, and you could maybe have that into a fund that would help you with everything in your grid that needs attention. That's just a brainstorm idea.
And the other thing is we don't work 30 years out, but we do work 3 years out. So any funding that we're doing now is for 3 years from now.
See,
So
yeah.
if you would start now, it'd be 4 years before you would see, probably before you would see any money.
Well, if we could figure something out, their
Right.
size project could
Right.
be,
I mean,
probably go faster than that.
normally.
but,
Yeah.
Okay.
So it isn't something that you say, you know, write us a check tomorrow, it doesn't have that way.
Yeah,
What
of course.
about
Well,
the-
I was looking through some of your information on your website,
Okay.
and it mentioned a deadline of like March something for certain kinds of funds, and I wasn't clear how it worked.
Right.
But obviously, we didn't get elected. My husband and I, Michael DeLay, we both got elected just recently to the board in April. So we're starting new with what we have to work with right now. So I just wanted to introduce myself too and say, just kind of reiterate on what Tom shared, that the treasure, the gem that Augusta is to St. Charles County, we do have 11 of those National Historic registered properties in Augusta out of the 30, a little over 30 that are in St. Charles County. So that is a third of our historic properties. And then we have the multitude of wineries. We're right off the Katy Trail, so we have multiple bed and breakfasts in town that are, it is a stop for all kinds of cyclists that come through the state to experience our county and our state. So we're not only a gem to St. Charles County, we are to the state as well. We are the first AVA, the first viticulture area given that title in the country before California, before Napa. So that is a claim to fame that only Augusta has in the nation. So we're a very valuable place and we generate a lot of revenue with the wineries and with the tourism that we have for the county. And I think we could do more for the county in that regard as we spruce up the town and we have more businesses open. We have the wineries, we have bed and breakfast, we have a few things, but if we just make it easier for businesses to be there and have more things for people to do when they do come to the winery.
Tell me about the illustrated map of the historical locations.
Yeah, we had an artist just recently that has been part of we have a plein air festival. Have any of you guys been to Augusta recently or very much? Yeah. So we have a plein air festival every April and artists from all around the United States and I believe has there been artists outside of the United States come as well to the festival? And we asked one of them to do an illustrated art piece for us with all the historical properties, and we're going to be sharing that. We're having a AVA, our 45th?
Yeah, it's June 20th, 1980, the federal government appointed
Got it.
Augusta as America's first American Viticultural Area 8 months before the second one is signed to Napa Valley. There's now 276 AVA districts in America. This whole month, but especially this weekend, are a whole series of events, dinners in the street, and it's really a great celebration. In the wine industry, anybody ever becomes a master sommelier, one of their questions is, where's the first American Viticultural Area? And it always spins their ears around to find Augusta, Missouri, all right.
And not only that, we,
California's hated you for that too, you know that, don't you? Pardon me? California's hated you for that too.
it was also Missouri that saved the French wine industry. So our grapes here were resistant to a certain kind of phyllox, yeah. And we were able to help the French wine industry stay afloat and thrive. So we have a lot of claim to fame in St. Charles County and Augusta. So anyways, we just wanted to come and share that with you guys and let you know that this new board, we're working hard to try to help Augusta with the roads. And so you've mentioned a couple things already that may help us, but, and then he mentioned to us that $10,000 to $11,000 was already supposed to be allocated to us. And then also that we could join the county and that they could maybe help us get on the budget sooner for the things that the highway department does. And that, I don't know, that maybe there would be some kind of, that we could maybe get on there sooner if we have part of the portion and they could help us.
Yeah, and that's out of my purview.
I think historically though, this size city, we would do a 10% match historically.
So we used to do that, and at some point, I was told that we had to do 20%. I can ask again, but from executive office, I was told that everybody
I thought
doing
the
these types
methodology
of
really,
projects.
The discussion was because obviously we're supposed to spend these dollars all over the county.
Mm-hmm.
And again, for them to come up with even 10%, but it is a sharing then. And again, their projects would never be as large because the 10% is going to cap you out a little bit about what you can do.
I think the
But-
highway.
I will talk to
gentleman
Rob about it.
Don't you think?
Yeah,
I mean, I would advocate for that, but.
yeah.
This is my
I'll be
husband.
much more brief.
I want to mention one more thing. Because of the cyclist, I read in the program that you had that you did do special interest in if you want to have bicycling lanes. And because of the Katy Trail, we have a lot of cyclists just riding their bikes through town. So there is like a road or two that could use a bike lane for those cyclists to get to the businesses in town easier and safer. So
We would love that, yeah.
Do you guys have your own sales tax district?
We do,
You do?
yes.
Okay.
And Michael DeLay, also, as Tracy mentioned, one of the board members. And so I guess my question would be, we do have some money, the town does, and we own some farmland that produces an income for us. So how would it work? How would we apply to pay either the 10 or the 20%? Because talking to Ted, he just threw out a number of doing a 2-inch, what do you call it? Overlay, yeah. And he was like about $650,000. I bumped that up to $1 million because we have other areas that need to be dug out. I mean, they've really sunk in and there's no base there anymore. So that is within reason for us as far as the 10 to 20%. So how would we go about making that happen? And I mean, that was he told us, you have 6.2 miles of road in town and gave us that number. So that would do our entire town, but I mean, even if we could just do the major corridors, how would we go about doing that and getting
I would
funding?
contact
I was
Amanda.
gonna
and
say,
then-
we'll
Yep.
set up a meeting.
Okay.
I will, I wanna talk to Rob first and kind of get the down low. I just got a new boss, so
Sure.
I'm like trying to get him integrated. Let me do that and I will reach out to you guys
Okay.
and set up a meeting and we can talk about it, yeah. Yeah,
Wonderful.
and
Awesome.
don't worry about the cycle, about the application cycle, like
Okay.
Matt said. We try to do that, but it's not an absolute, we must, so.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah,
All right. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Your wagon's loaded in terms of what all you have to do.
yep. Very much so, very much so.
Thanks for your service too.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the County Road Board. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dinoff, County Public Advocate. It's kind of ironic that the village of Augusta, or town of Augusta, came up and made their presentation, because I wanted to talk to the road board of my disappointment the last 2 months of municipalities and villages submitting projects for general maintenance that is the sole responsibility of upkeeping someone's home or someone's land in a yearly basis, ongoing maintenance for municipalities and villages. There's a number of projects which I will be opposing after the application rounds are submitted to the County Road Board and explained through the application process, because they are pure maintenance and they're trying to get under the guise of the auspice of the County Road Board. I just want to remind the County Road Board that we need to not lose focus of what the half-cent sales tax was intended for, and what all county residents approved that half-cent sales tax for a 10-year period. And those, in my opinion, are to build for the future, for safety improvements, to save lives and avoid injuries, and to avoid traffic debacles or bottlenecks throughout our county. We have a lot of mandatory issues that need to be addressed countywide, and we don't have the $45 million that's allocated to you in fiscal year 2026 to address all the needs of all the counties, including unincorporated, the towns, villages, and municipalities. I see where Augusta's coming from, but I feel that there's other available methods. They need to do an audit to make sure that the Department of Revenue for the state is giving them their proper road and gas tax. Community development block grant funds can be applied for through the county. The State Highway Financing Authority gives loans at no interest or low interest. They need to find ways to generate more sales tax, possibly contract with our county Department of Highways and Roads to do it like other municipalities, such as the city of Darden Prairie and other towns and villages in our county. They can have a road tax levy on the property tax for the residents to invest in themselves. They could create a road district, which is in the state statutes, and have a tax levy approved by the voters. Augusta, in my opinion, needs to invest in themselves, and they will see returns and generated new sales taxes to provide the necessary services for their growing town. So moving on, I'd like to see some intergovernmental cooperation and working as a team with MoDOT and our cities. I don't know if you all heard about the debacle at Technology Parkway and Weldon Spring Road. In terms of the city of O'Fallon cut off access to that, and a lot of the drivers were moved to Weldon Spring Road. They were making a left onto Technology, which created 5 accidents with pretty heavy life-sustaining injuries that were unfortunately sustained there. MoDOT didn't want to help with temporary traffic trailers, so the city of O'Fallon was going to do $100,000 and they were forced into wiring the traffic signals up until probably August, because come August, Technology Drive is going to be shut down by MoDOT all the way to Darden Prairie to Barrett Haven Parkway. And so that traffic should have been diverted onto, can't think of the road.
You're about out of time. Can you wrap up?
You gave the other speakers a little bit more leeway. I'd ask for a little bit of leeway.
And you know you have 3 minutes, and
Yeah, you didn't make sure that those people did the 3 minutes. They went way over. I timed them.
well,
So I'm going to be done in about 30 seconds here. So I made a MoDOT presentation to the State Transportation Commission last week, and you can all see it on YouTube. I'm asking MoDOT to help in sound walls at 364 and 94, and also an entrance to a Commerce Park at Prairie Lane and Missouri Highway 94. Missouri N, only 1 eastbound and 1 westbound lane with a turning lane. I'm having a lot of problems with that because we really need to build for the future, as we're having 30 to 40 new residents in that corridor each and every week move in there. And I'm not happy with the current surface talks that are just on the surface and probably about a year or 2 from being from fruition. Besides that, I think we need to hold more public hearings with the public for Highway N. That's the most growingest corridor in our state, and I ask that the road board participate in that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
any other additional public comment at this time? Hearing none, public comment will be closed. We would now accept a motion to approve the May 2025 minutes.
I'll make that motion to approve the 2025 minutes.
Second.
Any corrections? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Now we'll move on to the 2026-2028 TIP application presentations, and we'll start with the City of Wentzville.
How do we go back on this?
Might.
There's usually a clicker. Here it is. Go back. Yeah, there we go. We figured it out. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Tony Gambaro, the Assistant Director of Engineering at the City of Wentzville. We got four projects to go over. Wentzville Parkway and Parkway Ridge intersection improvement, I-70 pedestrian bridge, Marley Drive extension, and Wilmer Road improvements. Down. Okay, got it now.
It's okay.
The first one is the Wentzville Parkway and Parkway Ridge intersection improvements. I guess the map is a little small, but this is the next phase of the Wentzville Parkway turn lane project. We're currently working on the one that goes up to QT in the area. This one will widen out the intersection. Currently, a lot of joint failures, so aging pavement. There's only signal left turns onto the parkway from all four directions. The intersection is controlled by a span wire signal, and aging pedestrian facilities or no multi-use trail as we're continuing to build the trail back to the east. So existing condition pictures, you see the joint failure, the span wire intersection. Each side has just single left turn lanes, no dedicated right turn lanes into the side streets. Here's kind of conceptual aerial with some line work showing it. A little too small from here, but it's showing dual turn lanes in all four directions. Just for reference, behind QT, we got a pretty big resident or commercial development going in behind QT, and then across from that gravel lot next on the lower part of the screen on the left side of the gas station there. There's 6 commercial lots. Two of them are developed now, and there's one in the works. So that side's developing quickly. So project scope: 2 left turn lanes in each direction, dedicated right turn lanes for westbound Wentzville Parkway, and then southbound and northbound Parkway Ridge. And then we'll maintain 2 through lanes on Wentzville Parkway. We'll add a new signal. Other improvements will be storm sewer upgrades and new sidewalk and multi-use trail. Currently, we're working on design. Our city will fund design. We're not asking for any match there. And then right-of-way, the city and the county, we're looking to do the right-of-way, and then we have asked MoDOT for CMAQ funds for the construction portion. We are on the recommended project list for this project. And then we've also asked the property owners and developers in this whole area of both sides of Wentzville Parkway to put in about $1.1 million for the project. So there's the splits for about a $3.9 million project total. next project is the I-70 pedestrian bridge. We're looking to add a pedestrian bridge at Lynn Avenue to connect the north side of Lynn, where downtown is, to the south side, where the Lynn Cemetery is. The pedestrian bridge will connect to the outer road that Mercy Hospital is working on in their development of the new hospital in that north quadrant. And then the bridge will cross over and connect into the residential and commercial development that has been approved on the south side next to the Lynn Cemetery. The residential development will continue a 10-foot trail down to Interstate Drive and tie into the existing 10-foot trail down on Interstate Drive. So this will, overall improvements, connect downtown to the Interstate Drive trail system, and also remove pedestrian conflicts from the I-70 and Highway Z interchange, make it a lot safer for pedestrian traffic. So the financial sheet, we have revised this since our application submittal, talking with Amanda. So we are going to ask MoDOT for some cost share money for the project. We're also looking to reach out to GRG to put some money towards this bridge. And then city and county will put in about $112,000 each. The $1.4 million we have. So we're working with MoDOT. They're going to administer this whole project. We're going to put the funds towards their I-70 Alliance team to design the bridge and construct it during the Improved 70 project. So we won't be out on I-70 doing this project. We're just seeking funds to turn it over to them to build it while they're under construction. That 1.4, MoDOT has provided a rough order of magnitude cost to us, so that's a pretty fair estimate that they've given us so far. So our next step is talk to you guys and then reach out to MoDOT and start submitting a cost share application for this project. The next project is Marley Drive Extension. This is kind of another one that we're working with MoDOT to work on while they're under construction on I-70. So Marley Drive terminates at Ladora Drive, there at the junction where Sugar Fire is, Brett Hall's, and the hotel. We're looking to extend Marley all the way underneath the railroad tracks and tie it into West Pierce there in front of Pope Chevrolet. Talked about that already. The improved project scope would be a 2-lane cross-section with normal curb on the east side of the road. Barrier wall would be up against I-70 to tie in with their improvements. We're going to seek to have a sidewalk connection through the corridor as well, and we're looking to improve our water system and add another water main underneath 70 there to complete a downtown loop. Overall improvements would help the connectivity in downtown with the second grade separated crossing, the other crossings down at Lupton House. Lupton House doesn't have any pedestrian crossings, so this would allow an easy, safe option for pedestrians to get underneath the tracks. Here's a typical cross-section showing retaining walls potential in some spots, the sidewalk up against the curb, 2 lanes, I-70s off to the right side. There's another one. A lot of the sidewalk, we're going to try to do a green space, but some of the spots underneath the bridge, the railroad bridge, we'll have to bring it up against the curb in the street. This is our application numbers. I got 2 sheets here, but this is what we've applied for, about $5.1 million total project, seeking county funds for about $2 million. Very similar to the pedestrian bridge. we're gonna give these funds back to MoDOT to administer the design, finish the design of the project and construct the project during their schedule of I-70 improvement work. And the city's gonna be applying for MoDOT cost share for this project as well. So that was the application submittal, but we just last week received some ROM numbers from MoDOT last Thursday. In total, the I-70 team's cost for design and construction is $7.2 million, so it's a little more expensive than we expected. So we'll just be seeking to update our cost share with MoDOT to align with their values. Last project, Wilmer Road.
Before you get off that one, Tony, are you gonna put a traffic signal in up at, West Pierce?
At this time, we were not.
Just
It's just a three-way stop,
Okay,
possibly just it's probably gonna be a three-way stop.
okay.
We've had a design team put together some very conceptual preliminary plans for MoDOT, and they think this new roadway will take a lot more traffic from the north side to get to Highway Z interchange to get on 70, and kind of alleviate Lynn Avenue crossing and going through Church Street.
It also helps too with the hospital, access to the hospital, doesn't it?
Yeah, if it's a grade separated crossing, then they don't have to sit at Lynn and wait for.
You got the
trains to
circle,
cross.
you got the circle at Z, and that roadway goes on around to the outside up
Yes.
to the hospital.
Are there sidewalks on the current stretch that goes from Church Street?
No.
No, but some of that is getting, some of that is part of I-70's MoDOT project, getting adjusted and redone.
So this would complete sidewalks from Church Street along that corridor?
We did not, I don't think we asked them to do a ROM to go do sidewalk all the way to Church Street. It would get sidewalks to Ladora. It would get into that development. The development there where Brett Halls and Sugar Fire are, there's sidewalks going up towards the north to Main Street. The city's working on another project to finish Main Street improvements. We didn't even see outside funding. It's a city-only funded project to improve all of that stretch from the junction back to Church
Right,
Street.
but it would connect the apartments kind of what?
Yes, it would
Yeah.
connect into the apartments area. Last project is Wilmer Road improvements. I believe this was like a 2022 or 2023 application originally. This is project locations, Interstate Drive to Prue Creek Bridge to the south, about a mile long. Existing conditions, it's two-lane road. Really no shoulders, open ditch grading. There's really no guardrails for any of the box culverts. Towards the south end, there's some site distance issues. Project scope was pavement repairs and resurfacing, installing 5-foot paved shoulders for bike lanes, and replacing and upgrading guardrail treatment, signing, extending those box culverts to accept the shoulders, and then some vertical curve corrections for site distance, and then adding some safety enhancements for rumble strips. Typical section, just adding the 5-foot shoulders there. This is from the 22 application. You guys gave us just over $200,000 for our design to get the project started because we didn't seek any federal funding back in 2022. In 2025 application cycle, we did apply for MoDOT funding, but we were not recommended for this project. We were like a point off from the recommended list. So these are the numbers that we put in our application for a $2.5 million project. But with us not being recommended, we've been talking to, me and Matt have been talking to Amanda, and we're open to kind of skipping out on the right-of-way construction, or just skip out construction for now and try to keep design moving forward, so we're in a spot where years to come, we can ask for MoDOT construction funds, so we can just keep this project rolling. So, I believe that is it. If any other questions?
We already did part of Wilmer once. We
To
put
the
bridge
so-
in,
to
we
the
put-
south.
did the bridge.
Oh, county highway did to the south, yes,
And then we'll pick up from the bridge where they stopped
yes.
to head north to interstate.
Up to the service road.
Interstate Drive is short of the service road.
Yeah.
Yeah. It dead end, yeah, it ends at Interstate Drive, right? Yeah.
Well, it doesn't end at Interstate Drive.
It goes up.
Oh, it does go
It
further?
goes up to
It goes all the way up to the service
Okay.
road.
Okay.
But really, so that's going away when Parkway South Phase 2 goes over the railroad tracks to Interstate Drive. That crossing is eliminated. So that project's been in the works.
Yep.
And part of that grade separated
Wilmer
bridge.
and Interstate Drive, I know.
It will essentially dead end, but it will go a little bit farther to service a couple of those commercial sites that are just south of the tracks. But there won't be a crossing. Huh?
They've talked about that forever.
Yeah, so it will go, that crossing will go away. There'll be 2 dead end hammerhead or
We're just
cul-de-sacs.
talking about making a loop turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. This is county doing from Golf Club of Winsville all the way up to, Highway N? Is that county?
On,
Golf
Wilmer.
Club, that's Hefferman Road.
that's Hepperman.
That's Hefferman, okay,
Yeah, they're
sorry.
working on that.
Wrong
That's
road,
still,
wrong road.
that's actually supposed to go to construction this year or next year. That phase 2, they did phase 1 a few years ago. Yeah,
17, 18.
yeah. So,
Any other questions? Thank you very much. City of O'Fallon?
Good afternoon, County Road Board members. My name is Paul Telemanchuk. I'm a project manager for the City of O'Fallon. I'll be presenting today on our applications for the 2025 Road Board applications. All right, so we had submitted for 6 projects this cycle. So we've got Deer Road Reconstruction Phase 1. We're asking for assistance in construction funding. And then Deer Road Reconstruction Phase 2, we were asking for some design assistance to get that design started. The Bryan Road Pavement and Pedestrian Improvements, Mexico Road Resurfacing and Pedestrian Improvements. We submitted a Highway N shared use path design funding request, and then Guthrie Road Bridge repairs request as well. So this is kind of an overview of O'Fallon and St. Charles, so you can kind of see these projects in relation to each other. One thing to note, it's kind of hard to see the arrows, I guess, on here, but the Mexico Road resurfacing project is pointing actually to the west side of K, and the project's actually right under where that text box is on the east side of K. But once I get into the project, you'll see kind of where that's at. So starting out with the Deer Road Reconstruction Phase 1. So Deer Road kind of connects, provides an east-west connection from Highway DD over to Hopewell and subsequently up to N there. So this first phase is from Lynette Drive to Longgate Court. And the current existing condition is a narrow 2-lane roadway that has some sharp horizontal vertical curves in it. So what we're proposing for the reconstruction is basically reconstructing this roadway along the existing alignment with 2 11-foot lanes and curb and gutter, then a 10-foot shared use path on the north side of that roadway. We're also proposing a roundabout at Paul Renau Boulevard for traffic calming and safety. So as this area is growing, we're getting a lot of traffic through there. People are going fairly fast, and it's a lot of residential homes through there. So adding that roundabout provides both traffic calming and safety measure. for the project. We'll also have a rectangular rapid flashing beacon with a pedestrian crossing refuge island. And I'll go to the next slide here. So here's the project, kind of the plan we have now. You can see the roundabout there at Paul Renard Boulevard, and then over to the left side of the screen. It's kind of hard to see, but the pedestrian relief islands there with the rapid flashing beacon, and what that's there for is to provide pedestrians the ability to cross that road a little safer to get to the shared use path on the north side. So there's some subdivisions down there on the south side of the road. You can see that rapid flashing beacon, and refuge island will help those residents get across and use that bike pedestrian shared use path facility over there. So we did get some county funding for design and right-of-way 23 and 24. We did apply for federal funds this year, but we were not recommended on that application cycle. So this was a safety application for the county road board. This is a minor collector road. The estimated construction cost for this reconstruction is just under $6.5 million. The request for county road board was around $5.2 million for construction only, and we're looking to try and get this into construction late next year in 2026. So the next slide kind of gives you the 80-20 breakout, but this is a construction request here. Then jumping into the Deer Road reconstruction phase 2. So phase 1 is kind of the midpoint between Highway DD and then Hopewell Road was phase 1, and then so for this phase we go from Longgate Court over to Hopewell Road, and this very similar, reconstructing this roadway, 2 11-foot lanes with curb and gutter, and then the 10-foot shared use path along the north side. We are also including another roundabout at Turion Lane for traffic safety and calming. So I've got another slide here. So there's Turion Lane there, kind of similar situation. We've got that roundabout in there for the traffic calming and safety aspect of this project. This is a design-only request. It was a safety application. The total design cost is $500,000, so we're requesting 80% of that, or $400,000, with trying to get this into construction sometime around 2028. And then this is, again, an 80-20 split here that was requested. The next project here is the Bryan Road pavement preservation and pedestrian improvements project. So this project has limits between White Magnolia Drive and Norwood Hills Drive. Includes selective slab removal and replacement. We've got some slabs failing through Bryan Road, which is a principal arterial, seeing over 30,000 ADT along this roadway. So we wanted to try and address these slabs, and then we're also reconstructing a 6-foot asphalt sidewalk to a 10-foot multi-use shared use path along the project limits. There is a section about 200 feet near Walgreens, near Mexico Road, where site constraints will limit us to an 8-foot path, but for the rest of the project it'll be a 10-foot shared use path through there, which will connect to, on the north side of this project, there was a development north of White Magnolia that put in a 10-foot shared use path along all that commercial development, almost up to VMP. And then on the south side of this project, we had previously done a project that included a shared use path along Bryan. So we'll have a good shared use path from almost VMP all the way down to Fisey through Bryan Road here, which is a mix of both, commercial and residential uses through there. So this was an improvements to existing road application. It is principal arterial. Estimated project cost is just under $1.5 million. So the county request is for $234,295. We would begin design in 26 and construction in 29. And the reason the request is a little bit lower is because we did apply for federal funds on this project, and we were awarded the federal funds for this project, just under $1.2 million from federal funding on this. So the breakout kind of looks like this. This is for design, utility relocation, right-of-way, and construction. You know, if we were to get county funding, county would be 16% of the cost, the city would be 4%, federal would be 80%. Our next project here is the Mexico Road resurfacing and pedestrian improvements. So this project goes from Barrington Drive to Bellow Creek Road. So on the left side of the screen, Highway K, Bellow Creek Road. On the right side, Fort Zumwalt High School is kind of down there in the bottom right corner. Fort Zumwalt South High School, sorry, is down there on the bottom right corner. Currently, there's a shared use path that was done on a previous project from Highway K up to the limits of this project. So this project would take that 10-foot shared use path on the south side of the road and continue that up all the way to Bellow Creek Road up by Fort Zumwalt South High School. Also along with this, we're looking to mill and overlay the road. It is starting to show some signs of you know, deterioration on that surface course. And then there's a few sections of sidewalk on the north side that we'd look to fill in those gaps with this project as well. So at the bottom there, that's kind of that is the west end of the project. So I had mentioned that 10-foot shared use path coming from K to the east. You can see it kind of end right there. So we would take off from there, bring it up to Bellow Creek Road. And then you can kind of see where, you know, that project ended. We had an overlay, and you can kind of see the pavement starting to deteriorate on the surface. So we're also going to mill and fill that as part of this project. This was also an improvements to existing road application. It is a principal arterial. The project cost is just over $2.2 million. We are requesting $520,088 in county road board funds. Design would begin next year in 2026, anticipated construction in 2029. We did apply for federal funding on this, and we were awarded just over $1.5 million in federal funds to construct this project. So the breakout kind of looks like this for the design, utility, right-of-way, and construction. So if we were to get county funds, it's about 24% county, 6% city, and 70% federal. The exact numbers are up there, but approximately. Next project here, we have the Highway N Shared Use Path project. This was a side path bike and pedestrian application. This goes from Spring Orchard Drive to Meadow Lake Drive and would provide a connection basically to the Cottleville path and trail system that they have along Highway N. So this is kind of extending from O'Fallon, Cottleville city limits over to kind of that last neighborhood towards Highway K. And this would provide a 10-foot shared use path along that area and give pedestrians access to, you know, that trail system going down along Highway N. So this was a side path application along a minor arterial. We're looking at only a design request for this so we can get the design determined, get some good cost, and apply for federal funding in years to come. So it's a $200,000 design cost, and we look for 80% or $160,000 in funding assistance for this project. The picture down there kind of shows you the area we're looking to put that path. You know, we'd have good separation between the road and that bike pedestrian facility, so people can feel safe when they use that path. The last project we have is this Guthrie Road Bridge Repair Project. So Guthrie Road Bridge, it goes over the Norfolk Southern Railroad. West Terre Lane comes in there, and I-70 is just south of the screen there, so it's right off I-70. So with this bridge, we're seeing some delamination and concrete spalling. So we had a engineer kind of evaluate the bridge, give us some recommendations on what we need to do with it, kind of develop some specifications as well. So we've invested some money into the design and trying to figure out what we need to do to repair and maintain this bridge. So we do have a kind of a set of plans to address these items, but that spalling is at the bridge barrier, the abutment, and some wing wall sections there. So we've got an estimated construction cost of $140,500. We're looking for approximately 50% of the construction cost, so $70,250 in assistance to participate in helping us repair this bridge. Last slide here is just the funding summary for you. We have 6 projects that we applied for funding on. You know, the total request from county, if we were to get all of them, is around 6.5 million, well, it's over 6.5 million, but that would help us in doing $11 million of total work. And that's my last slide, so, you know, I'll open it up to any questions you all have, if you have any. All right.
We're good. Thank you.
Great, thanks.
Other business?
Okay. All right, I'm gonna see if I can figure out how to use this thing so that people can see online. Capture, maybe? I may need assistance from the back. Hey, hey! Okay. All right, that's actually not the first one I want. Okay. So, I sent out our scoring to the board and the cities, yesterday. So I know you guys haven't had long to look at this. We're not deciding anything tonight. I just wanted to briefly kind of talk through what we did so you guys would have an idea as you go through it more. I sent you the whole Excel spreadsheet, which is a lot. So I will send you these PDFs tomorrow, just so you kind of have a smaller version as well. But so basically we have the 6 categories. I did not print out anything for New Road, which is just Marley, or Bridge, which is just the Guthrie, just because they're scored, but there's really no comparison. So these are the improvements to existing roadways. You can see the scoring range from 35 to 50. Garden Prairie did not get funds for their Hanley Road project and decided that they would just withdraw it for now. So that one's not scored on the sheet. I scored every project as if it was going to go through the whole construction process. The projects on the bottom, the blue ones, did not get the federal funds this round or did not apply. So what I did was put in an amount that is what we would hope they would get next round. And really, these projects all scored fairly well in the federal cycle. They just didn't quite meet the points, and some of that was because I made everybody go after 80%. So they were asking for more money. You get more points if you go for less money. So that $1,350,000 is like you get the max points if you do that. So that's why that was the number that I plugged in for these, except for St. Charles. And they were so close that they're pretty sure they can get this amount. They just missed out. So anyway, the green is all projects that I would fully support. The blue projects did, for whatever reasons, come out in points that were less even as we threw it out, probably because of the lower percentage of federal funds. And I will get to what the blue means later on, so I'm just going to stop there and move on to the next one. Any questions about that? Okay. It should be fairly self-explanatory. So this is the traffic flow projects, and again, same concept. County Highway did not get Towers Road for federal, so they're going to wait and try again next cycle. Towers Road at Roundabout, or actually they may just not try to do it at all. And then the other 4 all scored really well. Our scoring does not go between categories, so we may try to figure that out at some point, like get the same total so that they can be compared against categories, but we didn't do that this year. So, so we're just comparing internally, but we feel like all 4 of these are valid projects. The blue one, again, is not federally funded yet. That's just an assumption based on the score they got this year to score it against everything else. Side paths, so we ended up with a lot of side path projects this year. I will note that we added one in here that is from my office. So we applied for cost share to add a 10-foot path along the new Route TW interchange that MoDOT is building. And we got that, I just found out today. So that project is estimated at $1,080,000, and just like Tony, MoDOT would be doing that. We would just give our money to them, so we would be giving $540,000 to MoDOT to go ahead and add that now while they're there. Otherwise, it will never ever happen. So that's the decision. Let's see, is there anything else I need to talk about in there? Again, they all scored pretty comparably. TW is actually a little bit lower just because there's no existing pathways on T or W connecting. We do want to do that in the future, so, you know, we're anticipating that, and again, we don't want to miss the opportunity to put something at the interchange. And safety, so these are the safety projects. The one at the top is actually, again, from my office. We applied for a county-wide safety measures project similar to what City of St. Charles did a few years back, but more on rural roads throughout the county. So that one did receive $1.9 million in federal funds, so that would be administered through my office. And then the 2 on the bottom from County Highway did not score particularly well, but those are very rural projects and very much, I feel like, need to be done. So that's a conversation I do want to have, and it kind of goes back to Augusta too. Like, you know, we have these areas that they're not necessarily going to score well on anything because they're not high volume roads. They're not, you know, whatever. They're very small things, but they still need to be done. They still, even if nobody's died at those intersections, there have been some crashes. There's a guy, you know, the homeowner, I got emails that were, you know, like, I've had cars in my front yard multiple times. So there are things that I still feel like need to be done. We can discuss that more during the work session, but that's my thought on those. And I think, again, everything else should be fairly straightforward. And then, so the blue projects are all on this list as well. So those were all the ones that just applied for design. And so this list is funding, and I need to add Wilmer. I didn't have the amount, so I will get that added. But this is actually, I have a pot of $3 million that I held for planning work this year, and I'd like to use some of that, 1.9 million exactly, to go ahead and fund these designs in this year so that they can start working on them before they apply for federal funds next year. Then they'll have a better handle on what the actual construction costs might be, how long it's going to take to get the right-of-way. There's a lot of issues right now with federal funding and the potential loss of federal funds because the project is delayed. MoDOT has started saying we're not going to let people roll this over because we're missing out on our own federal funding matches if we don't spend all of what we say we're gonna spend. So there's some possibility that projects can end up being pulled if they don't meet the years they said they were gonna meet. And a lot of that is coming from right-of-way acquisition taking forever. So, we wanna try to get ahead of that and get these projects going so that they can make sure they'll meet those deadlines. And then, like I said, these were scored on the separate sheet. These are just the amounts that they requested for design. And I just wanted to put that on there for you guys. And then the big budget amount. So I just did this, I finished this right before I came over here. So I'll say that I'm not done. But I wanted to give you something. So I have some contingency figures in here that I can probably get cleaned up a little bit. But if you do the whole list there, minus what was withdrawn, we did have 19,474,767 in requests. And with all of that in the future years, I did not go properly by year of requests because I didn't have time to do it. So I don't know for sure that these numbers are in the right order, but I can say that I feel like we could potentially fund everything if we choose to do so. And I'm not saying we have to. Obviously, we have a work session and we can talk about it, but I just wanted to give you guys the information based on what I know. So I will go in and get these really cleaned up and try to get you the full spreadsheet in the next week or so you have it before the work session. I'm going through all of the reimbursements from federal stuff to make sure we've got everything accounted for. If we didn't get an amount we thought we were going to get, making sure it's not included. So definitely trying to clean up the budget after a crazy year last year without an admin for half the year. So.
Where will that meeting be?
That meeting will be at my office in 542 on the date it says on the agenda. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so any
That's
other
a closed
questions?
meeting, right?
So I don't think we're technically allowed to have a closed meeting, so people can come. I think we didn't do public comment or something, but.
We don't vote on anything.
We don't vote on anything, yeah. So I'll move the recommendation to the next month. I think we should just go ahead and do the work session, and then we'll get it done the following month. So. Okay, that's all I have, I think.
Any other business from the board? If not, our next scheduled meeting will be Wednesday, July 16th. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion?
Second.
All those in favor, so saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.